morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out. We're at Park Inn by Radisson, and we're about to talk about social media etiquette. Now, here's a quote for you. You are what you share. It was said by Charles Leadbeater. You are what you share. Now, if I asked you right now to go back to the last 10 uploads, the last 10 posts that you put up, what does that say about you, ladies and gents? That's what we're talking about today. How do we create content that has impact? How do we use social media for good rather than trying to glorify a lot of the negativity that broods online? I've got two guests for the show, and trust me, you don't want to miss a thing. So grab your coffee, because we're about to get into a very educative show. So I'm here with Philip Ogala. You might have seen him online. He goes by Digital Humanitarian on Twitter, and that's what he created 5 years ago that has really changed how some people look and associate with social media. And it gives a positive space and a positive angle to this beast that a lot of us are trying to tame. Welcome.
Thank you.
First things first, quick disclaimer, if he puts on his sunglasses, it's not because he's trying to be cool, although you are cool, but it's because he did have eye surgery about a year ago, and it's quite bright, so he might need to put the glasses on just to make sure that he's good. Before we even get into this, I'm always so curious about the pins that gentlemen wear. What does that pin mean?
This is the 17, those SDGs. Yeah, so I also champion them in terms of health education.
Right.
Those are my core principles.
Okay. So, Philip, how would you describe your relationship with social media? Would you say you're an addict?
I'm not an addict. It's contrary to the opinion that I live my life online and I work online. Yeah. I'm very unsocial. I can actually switch off my phone, and even for days.
Oh.
Yeah. I balance my family and my phone. It's something which you actually.
Wow, lovely.
And if you are on phone every day and you can't be on phone, let's say how many people can actually be offline for an hour, for 2 hours, for a day?
What's your favorite platform?
Twitter.
Twitter. Why Twitter?
Twitter is it's actually more interactive. I suck on Facebook. I can be there like a week. I get messages after like a month. I'm like, oh god. Instagram, the same thing. I still suck there. But Twitter is real time because it's entertainous. You can quickly burst out on information, okay. And the reach is huge.
Right, that's true. I mean, I think you've got about 54,000 followers now.
And I know each of them. Yes. Before I follow anyone, I actually know everyone.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm quite para on who I follow.
Wow.
Because if you follow trash, you're going to see trash on it.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. So how long ago did you join social media?
2009.
2009. So that almost 10 years now. What change or what shift have you witnessed in the 9 years when it comes to how people interact online?
It's big time. Like in our days in the 2009, 2010, 2011, there we actually knew each other. There's a small Kenyans on Twitter. We used to even have tweet-ups. And people knew we used to know each other we are about 70,000 people.
Wow.
And we used to have meaningful conversation, talking about social issues. Nowadays I look at topics, I'm like, come on man. As in, there's nothing which you have substantive, and it's all about character assassination. People latch on, as in the current crop of digital Twitter users, they actually don't know the power they have.
Right.
In terms of making informed decisions, even holding leaders accountable.
Okay, so you can safely say that there's definitely a lot more of the vitriol comments and hatred and negativity online. But what do you think drives that?
I think as a society we find, I'll speak generally. People find comfort in social media because it gives them a false sense of it like masks them who they are. Yeah. So they'll actually say anything, feeling that it gives them a false sense of anonymity.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest driver right now. People think that I can abuse the president, I can abuse leaders, I can basically abuse someone I don't even know.
Yeah, just another human being just going.
And it's a shame really that you may trash someone you don't even know.
Yeah.
You basically based on and most of the posts are actually hearsay.
In what ways have you witnessed that people display poor online etiquette?
It's a shame. It's a shame that I have various cases. Like there's one case where a young girl was raped and brutally murdered. So someone took the whole graphic photo of the child and posted it online and said that whoever raped you should see no peace. I'm like, come on, man. So I told the guy, listen, do you know the family? No.
Yeah.
I'm like, please have some respect.
Common decency.
But no, the world has to know. I'm like, there's a way you can report news without using that image. So I find a lot of, like I can give you another example of a very close neighbor of ours. They actually had this, when you're pregnant and you have friends come over, it's called what?
Oh, a baby shower.
Yes. So they actually had friends.
When you're pregnant, people come around. It's fine.
So
baby shower, it's fine. It's fine.
So the friends came over. She doesn't drink, so they had their drinks, So the hubby was dropping their friends after the party. So he carried like four of her pals. Mm-hmm. They carried all the drinks. So suddenly they were crashed along Mombasa Road.
Yeah.
And the guys came and took photos of the car, the number plate. Then the comments were like, "This is a sponsor with 4 chicks, golden drinks."
Right.
So the wife at home, she's there waiting.
Yeah.
Saturday nothing, Sunday nothing. The next day she sees photos online that the sponsor has been crashed with 4 girls in the car.
Right.
She was pregnant.
Yeah.
Miscarry, hospital, ICU, stroke. Now she's on a wheelchair because of someone somewhere decided to break news. So I find that insensitivity. We don't care the trauma we cause bereaved families. Yeah. There's a way you can report an accident without using the images, and just have a bit of privacy. Yeah. Put yourself in that shoe.
That's a really important one. I guess what you're talking about essentially is a sense of ignorance, that even though your intention is to try and bring justice or bring awareness, what you could actually be doing, the kind of impact it could have, is completely the opposite.
It's a shame. It's a shame that even the PwC story.
Right. Yeah, because just the other day someone committed suicide, but the way the internet took it.
Do you know, it's funny how a close friend of his actually learnt online.
Wow.
Because on that day, I had close friends who actually saw it, but we didn't even talk about it. We didn't even divulge who he was.
Yeah.
And I kept telling flagging guys, please stop circulating his photos and his name. Think of the family.
Yeah.
And I think we've become a society where we pound on people's grief to fulfill our selfish desires. I think we are driven by sheer online fame.
That is true.
Where how many likes we have, how many shares we have, how many retweets, how many comments.
Yeah.
And it's sad that there's a parent who lost his baby in Kenyatta, and he actually posted the photo of the dead at finally is gone. I'm like, who does that? He got over 18,000 comments. Everyone was like, rest in peace. No one told him this is wrong.
That's shocking to me.
It's so sad that I can trust strangers for some gratification, as in. Yeah. I don't know why people find joy in likes, in comments, in shares. To me, it beats logic.
It's crazy. But speaking of the likes and the comments, I don't know if you saw, but recently Kanye West has been campaigning for all social media networks should have the option of removing the likes and the number of followers that you have, because a lot of what we do is driven by that.
Yes.
So
that one I agree with.
That?
I agree with, because as a society right now, we are driven with as in. Our social currency is judged by the number of likes we have, the number of followers we have, the number of comments we have, and it's sad how our generation right now thinks along those lines. Yeah. So if we remove the likes, I think it's gonna kill. It's gonna end this madness of like you'll find young girls pose. Like now, if I pose with my suit, I'll not get probably 1 like, 2 likes.
Yeah.
But if I reveal a bit of cleavage, a bit of it gets comments. So it shows the kind of society we are in. We are like driven society.
Right, and it's almost like we're always trying to push the boundary. Like if this is acceptable, then let's try and push that a little bit more and see what else.
And you've noticed that when someone posts those insensitive photos, they get a lot of traction. And as a society, I think we need to flag that. That needs to be flagged. We need to be, like a couple of times we've flagged people, telling guys stop
and it works?
this. It works.
Yeah.
Because I just put it bluntly. Like I don't name names, but on that day I did a post and I was telling guys, why are we pounding on people's grief to break news? Right. Even media, or like some of at times, do we even mind what the family feels?
there's no consideration. There's no consideration. I guess you just want to break the news and break it before the other guy. Yeah. So as long as it's out there, you're like, meh. So for those people who then post these insensitive comments or pictures, what should we do?
It's simple. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they have a very functional tool called the report tool. Like if you see a very graphic post or insensitive post, cyberbullying post, just report. And nowadays Twitter and Facebook, they have this functionality where you identify yourself that you're the one being bullied or you're the one being character assassinated,
yeah.
And they will pull it down. And even they can pull even the whole account down.
Oh, yeah. And rightly so, I guess.
I have flagged so many people,
yeah.
and they have lost accounts.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, and
that's something which, like, if all of us would just report that account, it will be pulled down immediately.
Yeah, right. To stand up for our brothers and sisters who probably don't know how to express that this is wrong, this is unfair, I'm being bullied, but just that quick flag.
As in, like, right now I'm handling over 7 suicide cases of young girls who've been character assassinated online.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just told them, okay, you know what, just go online and say that you're actually thinking of committing suicide because of this post. And those accounts were deactivated.
Good.
It works.
Good, it works. Okay, so what are some of the things that you wish people considered before pressing upload or share?
Before just posting anything, always just take a breather. Just think of you in that shoe. How will you feel if it's you being character assassinated? And just think of the other side of the families. How will they feel when you're breaking news? Do you think of the family, the children, the father? I think as a society we've reached a point where we don't even care.
Which, I mean, that to me feels, it's terrifying. The idea that we don't care. Is it that? I'll give
an example of look at the 9/11 or even the Paris attack. Even those shootings in the US, do you see any bloody bodies online?
So what
is this with us with blood? You see an accident like the other accident in which happened in Kericho the other day.
Right. Yeah.
There are so many graphic bodies online. As in why are we so insensitive that we want to spread it? There's a way you can report news without using bodies.
Right.
If I die today, if I probably get in an accident. There's so many photos of me when I was alive you can actually use and say, I celebrate him instead of using a graphic photo.
Actually, I think you're right, because I think I know of a big company that also had their YouTube account pulled down because of some images that they had put up back then. So I guess more and more of the networking sites are taking responsibility.
They are taking responsibility.
But I think it ultimately lies with us.
It's more of just common sense.
Right.
Just think it's called.
Just stop before you upload that photo, that comment. Stop. Think. Does it actually add value? Okay. When we have to take a quick break. But when we come back, I'll have another person on stage with us right now, and she's a psychologist who has a lot to say about social media and how we've ended up interacting with this big beast that we're trying to control. But we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about social media, this thing that we all seem to be on, but sometimes we just don't understand how to use it. And some of it is because of ignorance, others is because we're just plain terrible people in that moment in time. You just don't know better. But that's why we've got people on the panel right now who are using their platforms like Philip Ogala to do well. And right now we're now joined by clinical psychologist Deborah Obogwe, who is going to try help us understand a lot of what goes on online and why it does. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you for having me.
First question is around this this sense of anger that sometimes goes online. And sometimes it's justified because maybe you're speaking up for a social injustice, something just happened and you're like, this isn't fair. And social media is a good place to try and bring those issues to the forefront. So how do you then express that anger in a productive way instead of a destructive manner?
Productive anger is one that leads you to action, that causes you to act. And for one to productively express their anger, they need to consider what belief do they have concerning the situation at hand.
Yeah.
Secondly, what is the relation between themselves and others? in light of that particular situation, because there's factors to be considered while expressing yourself,
Okay.
so as not to overstep or to do things that may be detrimental to the cause you're trying to put across.
Yeah.
So you not only consider it from your own point of view, but you also need to consider the person for whom you are agitating.
Right.
For, if, for example, it's a case of rape, and an individual expressed that they had been raped, and all these other things surrounding the experience they went through. Well, you could take the route of blatantly just spilling it on social media and expressing how angry you are about it, or you could also choose to take a more solution-based approach.
Okay.
And say, in light of the things that have happened, I believe 1, 2, 3 things should be done either by the government or by the stakeholders, or action should be taken, as opposed to putting the individual who has gone through the rape case through more harm, because
Right.
that could re-traumatize the individual. Every single time they go back and read that post, it sort of like takes them back to the experience they have had, and they have to relive the experience again, and trauma could result from all that.
And the truth of the matter is, I'm sure Philip, you've seen this, even when someone is out there just expressing their honest emotions or something difficult that they went through, you're more than likely to find a comment there that's just completely inappropriate, rude, and just disregarding of what they've just shared. So sometimes it's just, it's not as simple as, if I put it on there and share, good will come of it. Philip, have you gone about expressing these frustrations online? I mean, I'm sure you have, but what are some of the things that you consider before posting your frustrations online?
First thing, I really keep my bedroom affairs in the bedroom, and I think that's as a society we tend to. I'll give an example. Do we use social media to get information or give information?
Oh, right now it's more about giving.
So we give so much information.
Yeah.
We open up our houses.
Yeah.
We open up our bedrooms.
Yeah.
We open up. I've woken up. I mean, people know basically everything.
Everything.
So the time now when you stop doing it, they're like, hey, but we are part of your house.
Right.
So it's also us. We have the honors to actually limit some of this. We're baiting people online. But going back to your question, at times I just find I find comfort in just going online and just speaking my frustrations, just letting be. And at times I flag people. I think as a society we've lost that sense of undugu. It's gone. I'll give you an example. I've been to like over 100 schools doing mentorship, and recently we went to, as digital Humanitarian, we went to Bomet, a school in Bomet, and it's quite shocking how, as parents, we failed, as society we failed, as teachers we failed, as a government we failed. These students are being punished for using drugs. So we sat down with them, listened to them. They're actually using drugs as a coping mechanism. They had the underlying issues. Most of them had gone through rape.
Wow.
They have gone through incest.
Yeah.
They have gone through bullying online.
Yeah.
They have no one to talk to. They don't trust going home. They don't trust their teachers. So they have only the online front. And when they go online, they get all sorts of flack, all sorts of. So I think as a society, we need to actually think back. What are we doing? Are we giving space for people to open up? Even us right now, do we have forums where we can actually go and vent and open up?
Right. Yeah. You said something very interesting, which is now we share everything. I'm drinking this cup of tea. This is what I've done to my hair. This is where my child goes to school. Or some, people are very, very open. And I think in many ways it's helped people connect better, but in some ways it's opened you up to a lot of the hate. Where is the balance? Where is the balance?
Balance has to be there. Like now for me, I'm married, I have 2 kids. I really have to find balance between where my boys go to school. Yeah. I can't divulge information about their birthdays, their school, their name of the class. I see parents doing that. Yeah. Like, oh, my son, day 1 in school, they put the full name, so the classroom, the name. You're actually baiting, well, I will be kidnapper. And we've had cases of kids being kidnapped in school. Right. There's one case, I won't mention the school where an ex actually took one here to bait the girl. She used to buy cakes, take to the school. This is Auntie Betty. This is Auntie Betty. So the girl knows there's an Auntie Betty somewhere, and that's sweets for the whole class. So one day the mom posted that there a certain mall. This girl went there and took the girl. I'm Auntie Betty. Oh, Auntie Betty. That was it. So at times we need to really find that balance of how much privacy you want to give out, and even as a society, we leave so much footprint online on what we do, where we stay. As in, I can basically know you by
watching or following you on Instagram. But I'm still trying to figure out where is the balance still, because I don't know what it is, but I personally enjoy like those home vlogs where someone's just like cleaning up and just talking about life, doing like the most mundane chores, and I feel most connected to the individual that way if I'm thinking about, say, YouTube channels and vlogs. So what's the balance between sharing too much and not allowing for any kind of
I think it's about sharing location and also intimate issues.
Okay, so intimate issues. Okay.
I think there needs to be a balance. Because I've seen couples who share so much intimate stuff.
Yeah.
And then when they break up, now they start pulling stuff down.
Yeah.
And then now people start bullying them like, hey, you brought it to your bedroom.
Yeah.
Why are you pulling us out like that?
Right. That sense of entitlement. Okay, so let's talk about trolls. The things that you cannot avoid if you're on social media. And you could just be minding your own business, just living your life, doing your thing, and the next thing you know, there's just like really nasty comment that's thrown your way. Deborah, can you break down the psychology of trolling?
Okay. I could choose to take a perspective of research that was done by some Canadians.
Okay.
And they came up with something they called the dark tetrad. The dark tetrad.
Okay.
And the dark tetrad makes reference to 4 particular personality, I don't want to say types, because they are not the major personality types, but sort of deviations, if I would call them that. And you would have one who is Machiavellian, who has no problem manipulating or lying to people, and they would be prone to being trolls. They would lie about people on social media. They would be the ones behind character assassination and defaming other people just to make themselves seem relevant, and they would draw satisfaction from that. There are some who are sadistic. They have sadistic tendencies. They derive their pleasure from seeing other people suffer. So they would be those who would just start up fights on social media for no good reason, knowing that at the end of the day someone would get hurt, and from that someone being hurt, they derive their pleasure and satisfaction in knowing that they are okay. Apart from the Machiavellian and the, what did I say? Sadistic. There are those who are narcissists. Now, the narcissists are just egoistic, and they are self-absorbed. So if things are not going the way they want them to go, and they're not going in their favor, then they lash out, or they will try and find ways to get all attention to point to them. And if their attention is not pointing to me, then I might easily troll another person on social media just to get to redivert that attention to myself. And finally, there are just people who have psychopathic tendencies. They have no empathy. They do not try to put themselves, and I like what Philip had said earlier, try to put yourself in that person's shoes. Now, we are lacking that. No one will think, okay, if I write this or if I put up this post about this particular person, if I was the one having that done to me, then I would not feel nice. Or my reaction would be different.
They don't go that
but
far.
They do not go that far.
So, question to you, Philip. I'm sure you've seen those people who say, but I have the right to say what I want to say. Freedom of speech. I should be able to express that I think you look like ABC. How do you deal with those people online who come and just have no sense of decency or empathy?
I think the rule of the thumb with dealing with trolls, don't feed the trolls. Because once you open a door, they'll put their foot on the hole. Don't give them substance to actually, just ignore them.
So what do you do?
Some I ignore, and some I actually face on with hard facts. And it's easy to actually I actually debunk them, and I've actually flagged a couple of trolls online.
Okay, so when
just
you
go head on them.
and when you do that, what is there? Do they back off or do they come for more?
They back off. And the beauty about this is you actually get guys coming in. Yeah.
Okay.
Kenya is sadly known as a troll city.
What?
It's sad that I've traveled far and wide, and we are known as bullies.
True.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not just in our minds that it feels like a very toxic space sometimes, not all times, but sometimes. It actually is known.
It's
Wow.
sad, yeah.
So then what's a healthy way to interact online or to deal with social media in general? What does a healthy relationship with social media look like?
I would take this approach. Have individuals reroute attention from it being on social media and attention on themselves. Why am I doing this? If I am trolling someone on social media, if I am putting up posts that are very they expose me,
Yeah.
they leave me bare before people who barely know me, what pleasure or what's the end game? What am I trying to derive from this entire experience? Because even from trolling, they do not troll because they want to troll or because they have all these like I call them personality deviations, if I could use such a word.
Yeah.
It is based on the view they have of themselves, because an
Right.
individual tends to reflect on others what they view about themselves. So if I see myself to be a little lower
Yeah.
than who I ought to be, then I will try to get others to feel
Bring
that
them
way.
down.
I will try to bring them down to my level.
I've heard that so many times, people saying like, no, it's really a reflection of who they are. But I'm like, but why do you then still go online? It's, to me, that's a disconnect.
It's really funny how, to me, I consider social media is actually, social media it's what, you see, it's unsocial. One, social media is not what goes on online, it's what goes on offline.
Exactly.
So the moment you put it online, it becomes social media. So we need to be more offline, just to actually network. I think what we've lost is the face-to-face kind of networking.
Right.
Where we actually drive pleasure from baiting people, from abusing people.
Right. And yet the social media started because we wanted to connect with others, people we hadn't spoken to in years or don't see often. This is how we connect. But now all we're doing is creating a reel of our highlights, and
it shows there are a lot of mental issues. People who troll each other, it shows it actually wreaks a lot of mental. The guys who actually go through stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask about the role that parents can take, especially where their teens are concerned, because there's a lot of young people on social media too. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We're at Park Inn. The sun is out, so it's a little bit bright, but it's okay. We love that. Little warmth never hurt anybody. I'm here with Deborah Oboge and Philip Ogala, and we're talking about social media etiquette and where we went wrong and why we end up glorifying a lot of the nastiness that goes online. And my question now is about the role that parents can take when it comes to protecting their children and making sure that their children are equipped with the right tools and values so that even as they go online, they're not part of the problem. So, Philip, where did we go wrong? Where did parents go wrong, and how can they rectify that?
I think I missed our days when I was growing up, because the parenting was a social issue. I used to dread my neighbor's parents than my mom, because they will whip me.
Right, because everybody was.
Then
it
mom
was a
comes
community.
and whips me. Then my dad comes. So it became parenting became a communal issue.
Yeah.
Nowadays, parenting has become, we become absentee parents. Parents leave home at 5 in the morning and they come back at 11. So they probably the nanny has been left that duty, and the teachers. So you find teachers are too busy to push curriculum. They have no time for attention. And the church also has been too busy preaching the gospel. They don't. They have their heads buried in the sand to actually face reality. That these kids are actually having sex. These kids are actually doing drugs. So as parents, we don't have time to even know our daughters and sons. We're too busy looking for chasing careers. And it's sad that parents have this ambition where I want this house, I want this chama, I want to watch. Those are their dream goals. They forget that this boy needs help. In my school outreaches, it's sad that it's a common denominator among schoolgirls and schoolboys, where they say my parents is never there. I've never been hugged by my mom. I've never been hugged by my dad. that feeling or sense of love is never there. When my dad is home, they tell me, you are stupid when you're mjinga, you know. Yeah. So this girl, everybody tells her when you're mjinga. You go to school, you're being told to get an A, and probably you're a C student. Probably you're a good singer, you're a good writer. You're not a, so the society is actually lashing this girl, this boy. Yeah. So he goes online. He was told, you are pretty, with some random stranger. All of a sudden.
Yeah. And then you derive your sense of worth from that.
Yeah. Whew. That's where we are right now.
Wow. So when I was doing my research on social media, one of the things I came about was this theory that the kind of effect that social media has on us is this kind of effect that drugs has on someone or alcohol would have on someone. And there's, I think it's called dopamine, but a chemical released, and that's the kind of high you get by the likes and the comments and the notifications coming in. And what I found quite interesting was that with alcohol, for instance, there's an age limit. You have to be 18 for you to drink alcohol, or 21 if you're in other countries. There's no age limit. It's not clear where social media is concerned. So you'll find a 12-year-old with an Instagram account, an 8-year-old on Twitter or YouTube. How should parents go about limiting their children's access to social media?
To answer that question, I would take this approach. If you have built your relationship with your child to the point that they understand your role in their lives as their parent, then you are in a position to dictate when and where and how they use social media.
Okay.
In our day and age, it's not a rare thing to find children of several months just being left with a caregiver. The parent goes away, and when the child actually starts coming to, they attribute, or rather they feel like their caregiver is their mother as opposed to their real mother. So whatever they are socialized or they are taught by their caregiver is what they take as opposed to what the parent would say. So if the caregiver would say, you only get to watch TV from this time to this time, and the mother says, no, I think that's too long a time for you to be watching TV or to be on your phone. I need you to do this between this time and this time. They'll be like, but you're not around.
Yeah.
She's the one who's around, so I will take what she says over what you say.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that parents do not realize that you only have a small age gap for you to get to form that bond with your child, for them to actually acknowledge you as their parent, and to know that as a parent, you need to play an active role in your life.
What's that age gap?
Between the ages of 0 and 7.
Wow.
But if you're lucky, we can push it to 10.
Yeah.
But between the ages of 0 and 7, that's the period you have to assert your role as a parent to your child. So if you are involved in their lives from that early age, for them it will be from a point of trust. If mom tells me that going on social media at this age is harmful for me, then I will not do it. I will wait until I get to the age they have said is right for me to go on there. And of course, as a parent, because you have been involved in the child's life, you're able to instill the values you want your child to have. And these are the same values they will carry on with them, even when they're interacting with people on social media.
Wow.
If I can just add on that, you know, as parents, I'll probably ask, do you have like a gate in your house?
A gate?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but there's a court, there's a gate, right?
Yeah. Oh well. Okay. Yeah. There's like. Parameters.
Do you lock your door when you sleep?
Yes.
Do you lock your windows?
Yes.
So as a parent, if you have Wi-Fi or you have your daughter's social media, that gate is useless. Strangers can come into your house. You can be sitting with your daughter right there, and he's bringing strangers into your house.
Wait. Whoa. Wait a second. That really has hit me hard. You're right. There is like, before, when we're in the house, when during the day, everything is locked. The main gate, the front door at night, everything is locked. But
so
then
you think you're safe.
and we think we're safe, but that's not the reality. Oh my God, that is so terrifying.
This girl has a device which he can reach anyone. He can actually live stream from the house. Hi,
and
guys.
Someone can reach them.
Yeah.
So if my child was old enough and I left them alone at home thinking, oh, they're fine, they're safe. They've locked every door, every gate, it's good. But as long as they have the phone and access to the key, anyone can come in. Yeah, sure.
So as parents, how many parents know how to filter the Wi-Fi to actually check what their daughters and sons are actually browsing? There are apps which parents can actually snoop in and check.
We
the
need
age
those
of the-
apps.
yeah.
We need those apps. We need to list them down. No, I'm going to corner you after this, and I'm going to get exactly what apps those are, and we'll put them on our social media that's living with us.
And
Man.
just to finish up is, as parents, we need to be very afraid.
Yeah.
We spend so much money in paying school fees, so much investments, but we do not know what these kids are posting online.
Right.
We do not know they have two characters. There's one at home, very holy, but there's an online character who is much worse. We're living in a generation that is quite sharp. Kenyans are very sharp, but they are very tech savvy, very innovative. But when it comes to online, we are cyber foolish. So these
Cyber
kids will
foolish.
not get jobs.
Yeah.
As much as they're past exams, no jobs.
Whoa. Okay, Philip, tell us about Digital Humanitarian. What is it? Why did you start it? Tell us.
I always cry when I talk about Digital Humanitarian. It's quite an emotive story, which it goes deep into my emotions. I actually became a Digital Humanitarian while I was at Red Cross.
Okay.
Working for Red Cross gave me a frontline access to the other side of life, which you do not see, the death. You get to see the bereaved families, the pain they go through. So working for Red Cross actually exposed me to how the power of digital can actually save lives, can actually provide that bridge which we normally don't have. So during the Westgate, I actually saw the power of digital, where we could actually help missing families to find the link up with the missing.
The Westgate attack.
Yeah, we also helped to raise blood. I mean, through just a digital space, and even raise safety awareness. So after that, I had to quit because of the trauma. It was too much. So Digital Humanitarian, I formed that after I got a lot of queries from guys online who are like, please help me, I've been raped. Help me, I'm going through depression.
Wow.
So what we do, we actually provide linkages with like now the clinical psychologists, with the police, and we've actually jailed a couple of guys.
Oh.
It's a joint effort, yes.
Wow.
Where you get a case online, you follow it through, get the police involved. They actually get jailed.
That must be, I mean, that's an amazing thing that you're doing, but I can only imagine that must also be very heavy, because every day you're dealing with all these cases. How, and now this question goes to you, Deborah, how do we go about doing good and making sure that we're using our platforms in the best possible way, but without allowing that to carry through what we're doing offline, you know, so that we're able to sort of separate if it can happen? How do we go about that?
First of all, we can work towards achieving self-awareness.
Okay.
When one is self-aware, you are able to separate issues. You're able to know the reason for which I want to engage in one thing or the other is because I am seeking validation, or I am seeking self-assurance from someone, from something, from social media. And you're able also to know the reason for which I am pursuing this cause is because I actually want to see results in favor of the individual who is going through a particular challenge. So self-awareness and empathy. Try and put yourself in the person's shoes.
Okay.
If I was the one in this situation, would I want the same thing done to me?
Yeah.
Or concerned?
Yeah. Okay. Social media has been linked to depression, and in fact, there's something like Facebook depression or social media depression that I've come across, which to me it's crazy that it's actually that, you know, mental illness is directly linked to social media. What are your thoughts on that and how to go about it?
Like we had earlier mentioned, for most people, social media is an escape from reality. People do not want to acknowledge what's going on around them, or rather come to terms with the feelings, the negative feelings those happenings elicit in them. So they escape to social media. And in social media, the tendency to try and compare yourself to other people is very high. There's a very high likelihood of you seeing yourself in light of another person. And earlier on, as I was explaining, I was saying the belief of someone concerning a particular situation and also how they view themselves in light of others is what determines whether or not they may get into this social media depression.
Wow.
And actually, researches that have been done in the West have shown a very strong correlation between social media and the rates of suicide. Yes.
Wow.
So it's something we need to look out for.
Yeah.
Not just as social media users, but also the government, the communications authorities, and all this. They need to look into that, because the suicide rates are also going high,
Yeah.
especially among the youth. So it's something they need to look into.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Right. Last question, Philip. What do you love most about social media? I know we've spent the whole show talking about, social media is tough. Oh, it's the end. It's things are going wrong. But there's also good about it. So what do you love the most?
What I love most about social media is the ability to use it for good, and the ability to actually reshape conversations, the ability to actually inspire young generation. Like as digital humanitarian, we've been to over 100 schools, mentored over 10,000 students.
8,000?
Yes.
Wow.
Like each school has like about 110,000. So it's been amazing how we've actually mentored a generation. We've implanted something, and also the beauty about social media is it's an income generation. I get my bread and butter from it.
Look at that.
I keep telling guys that as much as we want to be trollers, there's a positive side of it where you can showcase your talent. There are people who have been singers, they're using social media, they're artists and stuff. And just generally as a society, I like it because of the accountability nature, where you can actually follow a story, follow a campaign, and it's easy now to actually tell stories and even reshape our African narrative.
Yeah.
It's time now we tell our own stories as opposed to someone telling our own story. That's the beauty about it.
And I know you're on social media too, but so what would you say is the best thing about it? What is the good in social media? Where is it?
I love that social media is a tool that can be used to educate people. On most of my social media platforms, I am very active and loud when it comes to matters mental health and trying to demystify mental health and help in mental health. It is not, you're not crazy when you seek help from a counselor. You just want to air out your issues, you just want to talk, you want to see where your head's at, and that's perfectly normal. If I know I have certain issues and I probably want to talk to someone who would give me an objective perspective on where I'm at, then the most logical thing would be I'd go and see a counselor. But if I went up to my friends and told them, you know what, I'm going to see a counselor, they're like, are you crazy? You know, that's what society perceives help in mental health as. But I use my platforms to try and just get people to rally behind the idea of speaking up and speaking out about mental health in order to at least try. Even I usually tell myself, if I was to hear that a post of mine made one less person try to commit suicide, I would be happy. That's where I derive my joy from with regards to the use of social media. So we can use it positively. There are a lot of positive aspects towards social media, and we would, I believe I'm speaking on behalf of the people in the mental health profession when I say if we used our social media platforms to educate and to rally behind causes that would help inspire one out of depression or any other mental illness, you'd be doing one good for the world.
Amen. I love that.
And just to show the beauty about social media is, a forum of mental health specialists, policemen, NGOs, providers, where guys, if a case is flagged to me online, I share it in the group. And quickly, they actually pick up the case, and counseling is offered, or the police step in, or lawyers step in, and it becomes a whole digital humanitarian kind of where we use the digital space to actually offer solutions.
I love that. And again, I know that the whole conversation has been really centered on the negative effects of social media, but there's also good in it, and it's up to us to not be ignorant about what we're posting and to try and tame this need, this desire for likes, for fame, for online fame, like Philip was saying at some point. We're better than this, and we can do better, but you've got to take responsibility if you're going to post anything online. Wow, thank you guys. Thank you so much. We shot this beautiful episode at Park Inn by Radisson, and I just now want to end this show with our WCW for the day. Now, she's probably the youngest WCW we've ever had. Her name is Chanel and she's 11 years old, and she's been touted as one of Kenya's most promising young golfers and is currently Africa's top-ranked junior golfer. Earlier this year, she beat 117 other contestants in the U.S. Kids Golf World Championship to emerge as the world number 9. Man, Chanel, big ups to you. Keep doing big things, and we salute you for your great swing. Thank you for watching once again, and we'll be back tomorrow 8 a.m. Bye, everybody.